Hello everyone, welcome to I Am Aware News, Faith, Opinion, Debate, and Truth. Given everything going on, I've decided to start a Doomsday Beard. Alright, not really. Doomsday Beards don't even make sense, do they? I mean, they get itchy, a gas mask won't seal properly over them. It's a dumb idea, come on. But no, today we're gonna get over, talking about some of this crap, kind of do a final once-over of some of the election crap and the new, popular Civil War thing everybody's talking about. Yay! So maybe take a little bit of a look at that, This is a video I've kind of been thinking about doing, trying to do, have even shot already and deleted because, it's just more crap just keeps coming up, and it just... If it's not crap in the news, then it's like, well, now I've got to update it. I've got something new to add. Well, you got to put this in, or wait for this part to go down, And then it's like, oh, okay, it's finally over. Let's just watch this little vote count, and then, oh, well, they took the Capitol. Okay, it's always something, right? So a lot of crap going on is all. So it's taken more time to try and get this together than other crap going on, just personally affecting my ability to get out said video. So, between being slightly food poisoned maybe a couple times and all kinds of crap. Just, it's been a rough few weeks, I think, for everyone, right? So, I just wanted to cover this a little bit. Maybe especially look at the election fraud thing and kind of maybe put something out there that both sides can maybe understand a little or help them to understand the other side or where they're coming from or why certain things aren't happening or whatever. Maybe that would be good, maybe help, who knows, and, like I said, otherwise, I guess maybe kind of take a look at, whatever the heck we're looking forward to now. But I will say, for future stuff, that this whole crap going on right now has really, put in a lot of ideas for new videos to do soon, because there's just so much crap. And it's all kind of connected and all these different things. It's so ridiculous, It's just, the whole point I started this was to talk about ridiculous crap and point out how stupid it is and maybe help people to understand a little and stop hating each other over stupid crap and maybe get together over real crap. You know what I'm saying? But it's just, it's been rough. So, we'll see about all that. But for now, like I said, let's go ahead and get this election video done, and this will be the first one, I guess, in trying to do slightly shorter videos, since people have a problem, watching an hour or two, or maybe 3 sometimes, of one person just monologuing, which you can probably already tell from how much I've ran through just really nothingness to start the video. I can do that real easy, but we're going to try and start cutting these down, make them a little more consumable for everyone out there, so yeah. And, a little bit of a big, crazy subject to start with it on, but we're going to do it anyway. So, let's go ahead and get to it. Let's see. Generally, I think we all know what's been going on. Biden versus Trump, blah, blah, blah. Biden's in a basement. Trump is holding rallies, and that's not safe. And, there's all this crap, the disease, the lockdowns, the not lockdowns, the masks, the no masks, the protesting on the left, the protesting on the right, and just... And then we got to the whole point where, and the whole thing, this whole election cycle, they've been leading up to it with fraud. It's going to be a complete scam. It's going to be a complete fraud from both sides. Left and right was like, this is it. The election's going to be stolen. It's Russia's fault partially if Donald Trump wins. It's China's fault partially, and maybe apparently a little bit Iran if Biden wins. Whatever. So they've been setting this up the entire time. And I think it's funny now that since Trump has lost, now the people on the left are like, no, this was the most, accurate and perfect election we've ever had. There was so little interference, it's unbelievable. Even though they were saying, yeah, it's going to be stolen too, like a month beforehand. But so anyway, it's been so ridiculous, and this is just the latest part of a whole lot of crap that's been going on that's gotten people very upset on both sides, I mean, and it's, from my perspective, kind of not really a centrist, but not really, identifying less and less with the two sides because they're just completely out of control. But it's been weird to look at and kind of see all this crap going down, and it's hard for me to blame anybody because I can see how much everybody is being disenfranchised, and unfortunately, you're all also being played against each other so much that it's their fault, it's the other guy's fault, and the people that are screwing you over the most are the ones pointing you, at your fellow neighbors here, like, oh, it's them, you better be upset with them, they're the ones trying to do this to you, Anyway, crap rolls downhill, just remember that, it doesn't roll sideways, alright, if you, the little people, are here and here, crap ain't rolling like that, it's always coming down, alright, and it's generally coming down on both sides, it's just something to remember. But anyway, see, I'm about unity, man. That's what I'm all about. and not in the way that a lot of people are right now. Because there's a lot of calls for unity, but it's unity like, hey, we should all get together and unite. As long as you all believe everything we do and don't argue with us at all. Then we can be together, then we can be united, and everything can be great. If you'll just shut up, sit down, and do what we tell you. Which isn't a great path to unity, right? It's hard to get everybody on board when half the people aren't on board and you just tell them shut up and stay on board, or I don't know, we're totally not going to kill you or put you in jail because it's America, right? Anyway, yeah, it's so America. I have to be really careful about how I say anything moving forward on this video because I could get banned from speaking. Yeah. Well, not completely banned. They can't ban us from actually talking, but they can just ban us from basically being heard by anyone. So, yay. But anyway. But to be completely honest, the way I see this election, I really think I can go within the last, standards of Google that I saw. So, yeah, I think I'm good. So, we'll see. But, let's go ahead and cover this, look at this. I don't know which side to start with. If I do have people from the left and right watching this video from the start, I don't know who to start kind of hitting their issues first because, will it turn the other one off? Because people are just so, nuts. I'm sorry. And I would like to think that, most of the people that end up watching this aren't in the nut group, but you never know. And you kind of hope you can pull some of those nuts back from the brink to where, maybe they can not just go completely crazy, but it's a bad time. It's a very divisive time, and it's hard to talk to anybody because everyone's so much more and more getting into the idea of if we don't agree, shut up, go away. You need to be silenced. You need to be, it's a bad time. So, but maybe I'll just go through this in general. Well, I guess we'll start with the election itself, because that came first. I'll just do it in order of how things went. So, yes, for those of you that are maybe more on the left, who have been listening to the media, and don't understand why these right-wing lunatics think that the election could have ever been stolen, because it's the most fair and open and free election we've ever had, and absolutely nothing went wrong, and there's absolutely no proof that anything happened. So I just want to explain that part maybe a little bit first. For people more on the right, which would, I guess, still include myself. It's hard to include myself in any of this at this point, because everything's getting so twisted around. Let's say real, right? But then people get upset. Everything's going to get people upset, and then they're going to have a problem. I don't know. I don't even know how to talk to people anymore. That's one problem doing these videos at this point. It's like, how the hell do you say anything to people and not just, completely get them turned off within 5 minutes, I don't know, you said, everybody's getting a little childish. So if at any point, and maybe you already do, feel a little bit insulted by anything I'm saying, which if I'm calling people babies and you feel insulted, that sounds like it's more about you than me. But anyway, just try and hang in there a little bit, because I do have a point, right? So, anyway, people on the right, they're sitting there, they're watching this election. Personally, it looked like another Donald Trump victory well before the actual vote started happening. And this is coming from someone who's not really a fan of Donald Trump. Sorry, crazy, super Trump fanatic people. Not a fan. because I'm more an actual conservative and he's more of a quasi-conservative populist, and I don't really trust that. Especially in, again, times like these, because populism in very divisive and uncertain times tends to lead to very horrible dictatorships. Not saying Donald Trump would have been that person. I know a lot of people want to say that he was going to be like Hitler, but he's just not that guy, you know. I wish there was a better word for it, but really, I just don't think he had the balls to go that far. You know, he was a mouthpiece. He liked to talk. He was a big talker, or more so, a big tweeter, right? Or whatever. I don't know. Anyway, but that was it, for the most part, you know, and cozying up to Vladimir Putin, and I would say even Netanyahu to some extent. You know, that wasn't because he really liked Russia, and I don't think it's really because he was exceedingly, you know, high on Israel. It helped that his base favors Israel, but, you know, I think those are two world leaders that are generally seen as kind of tough guys, right? That's the tough crowd. You know, former KGB, FSB guy, former Mossad agent. I mean, those are the big guys on the block. Those are the tough guys. And Donald Trump wants to be seen as a tough guy. Even though he's, you know, basically a silver spoon in the mouth or somewhere else. Silver spoon in the wherever, you know. Anyway, you know, he's been rich his whole life. He's not one of the people. He has no idea what it's like for you people, and I don't know why people think he can understand this. Anyway, he's an entertainer. He's a very rich entertainer, but he wants to be seen as a tough guy. That's his ego. That's what he wants to be, and so I think that's more what it was as far as really cozying up and doing good things, or acting slightly more favorably in public to those people. Even the whole thing with Kim Jong-un, you know, like, I'm gonna get it settled, and I fell in love with him, which is weird. You know, a tough guy's not gonna come out of a meeting, I fell in love with this man. Like, sorry, Donald, you did that wrong. You can say you had a good meeting, but, you know, you might want to use different language next time. Well, I guess there's not gonna be a next time now, though. Anyway, but, so yeah. You know, anyway, I'm not a big fan of him, but going into 2016, really by, I think, mid-2015, and I do have little messages I can still go back to and probably screenshot and share in some comments somewhere to prove it. I was kind of thinking he had a chance then, and it was the same kind of reason Rudy Giuliani was talking about. You know, the first rally thing I saw, I was looking, I was like, this is weird. This is different, but this guy's got a hell of a following, and he's probably actually going to win this because it was just so massive, the craziness and just the rally thing, and it really was, you know, it was kind of nuts. So I think if you really looked at that, you could be like, okay, this guy's got a chance, you know, he's got a good chance, and, you know, I think by, August of 2016, I was absolutely positive he was going to win. Which, again, not being a fan of much of what Bush did, definitely not basically anything Obama did, and now going into another guy who again, not because I thought he was actually going to be a dictator or something like a lot of people seem to, but just, he's not, you know, make America great again. Well, he's not what America's about, you know, he's not a hardline constitution. He doesn't have ideology. He's a populist. You know, it's like the opposite of ideology. It's just, you know, whatever sounds good to me when I'm saying it, or whatever a lot of people seem to favor in a poll, or whatever, you know. Populism, it's a plastic bag in the wind, so didn't trust him. And given that we hadn't had any good presidents lately, did just, you know, it wasn't gonna be a big deal. And I know a lot of people are like, well, yeah, he showed you. Not really. Let's be honest. I know, the media doesn't say everything that he did, but yeah, he could have done a heck of a lot more if he was really, you know, if he would have spent like half of the energy and time into actually pushing his agenda and trying to get to the people what he wanted to do and was doing, you know, as he put into mocking people on Twitter, I mean, I think he could have been way more successful. And maybe would have won in a landslide. But, you know, it's too much about the show. Right? So, whatever. You know, the Trump show had to go on more than anything. more than the agenda, more than the presidency. Crazy random garbage constantly. I think he operates on that whole thing. No press is bad press or whatever, right? If your name's getting out there, it's a good thing. Unfortunately, when it's the other side printing your own words constantly saying, look how ridiculous this person is, that's not great press. Eventually I think it has an issue. But anyway, still, despite all that, going into this year, you kind of think, alright, he's got a chance to win. Again, not that it made me extremely excited. And before anybody starts, trying to type up some 8-paragraph thing about how I'm a traitor to the country and I betrayed the party. Look, I didn't vote for Clinton or Biden. I just didn't support Trump because I didn't trust his fat lying ass either, to be honest, okay? They're all about the same in my book. You can say I'm wrong in that, but that's pretty much how I feel. Anyway, still, looked like he was going to win. The one thing, though, was with the whole damn virus thing, he really did not do well with that, And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton, rather, would have done better if they were in office, because they probably would have gone along with kind of what the EU did, which was also, oh no, we can't close borders, we're an open society, and the virus just rampages through and slaughters people like crazy. So, you can say this and that, talk about how, oh, Biden would have been different, or Clinton would have been different. If it just wasn't Trump, things would be so much better here, and I doubt it. I really highly doubt that. Again, virus is something we can hit in its own video, or maybe a few videos at this point, because there's so much crap with that, but, it's just, generally his handling wasn't great either. Maybe nobody would have handled it great, but it's just being such a jackass about it constantly, And the real problem is you had so many people on the right. It's like, why are we locking down? Why are we taking all these precautions? It mostly kills old people. Like, I'm sorry, Republicans, did you forget that one of your major voting bases is old people? Maybe going into an election year and tell them all, hey, we're not overly concerned that you're going to die. Maybe that's not the best way to go in to an election year with one of your major voter bases, I mean, that's like if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris has been like, oh yeah, well, cops are shooting black people. Screw that, we don't care. Let them shoot them. It's just black people. We're not really black. She's kind of half black, but, it doesn't affect us. So who cares? Screw it. Let's just keep going full steam ahead. That would have been dumb. That would have probably cost them a lot of votes, and possibly the election. So same kind of thing. If you're alienating any of your voter bases in an election year, that's not great. Not very smart, And again, we can, in a later video, go back and forth about how, oh, is it real, is it not? I get that. For most average people, though, they at least to some extent do believe there's a virus, and it has killed people. Maybe it's not the most horrible thing in the world, maybe it's not completely fake, it's just, they're somewhere in the middle, I think, So, it's just completely, ignoring it and saying, hey, we don't really need to do much because it's not going to kill you unless you're old and sickly. Well, old and sickly is kind of one of your things, it's one of your people, so not a great group, to alienate, but whatever, So, point is, Donald Trump had problems. There were some of the things he was doing, some of the ways he was doing things that were really hurting him, I think, with average people. I know the main hardcore supporters are just ecstatic every time he gets on there and berates somebody or says some crazy thing, and of course, then they go back later and they're like, well, if you change this around, and you take into context this part that you didn't mention, then you can sit there for 10 minutes and take one of his ridiculous statements and then finally work it through to where it's like, he actually made a point here, and it wasn't totally crazy. That's fine for his supporters, but the average people, and it's certainly not people on the left, they're not going to do that research. They're not going to sit there and watch, 5 channels or 5 different shows on Fox News that are explaining what the hell he just said. They're just going to take it as is, as an excerpt. Maybe, unfairly so, like the whole thing with the Charleston thing that, I know there was more to that clip that kind of put it in a better light. But it's just, he just constantly kept saying these things, and people just, the main, average type people, they mostly saw it as the bad thing. They didn't see the long explanation of why it wasn't. Okay? And that's not good. And he just wouldn't shut up. And I know, you can't handle him. He's got balls. You're just too much of a wuss to handle him talking the truth. No. People are human beings. And maybe, if they're not stuck up his backside, they don't really get why what he's saying makes sense. And it just comes off as being insane. Maybe that's something to think about, again, in an election year. But he's not a politician. Okay. Well, that went real well then, didn't it? Anyway. Just throwing that out there. Point is, he had issues. Okay? And I think, while he was still very well could have won, it was not going to be like a landslide like you kept saying. It just wasn't. Because he was doing crap that was costing him votes. He really was. I mean, they had the second debate thing, and he looked a lot better there, but the first one he blew. The second one wasn't existent. I mean, it's just too much, man. He kept digging himself a little bit deeper into a hole. And, whether you want to say they made up that gap by fraud or not, he put himself into a position where he could be taken down by such methods, okay? Can we at least agree on that for people on the right? Now, again, for people on the left trying to explain this, why are people so upset? Why are people so convinced that there is fraud? Again, people on the right tend to really pay attention to these things, A lot of us tend to be kind of news nerds, especially political election nerd type people. It's a common thing. So it wasn't just, we flipped on the nightly news, saw where the polls were, and then like, this is awful, or this is terrible, or this is great, and then flipped it to some other channel, or went to Netflix or something. A lot of people on the right sat there and just binge-watched this election. Like, the entire time. Okay? And there's definitely some questionable things that went down. Of course, probably the biggest thing is, they go through, we're at around 1 o'clock at night, and they start saying, well, look, it's going to take so long to count all these votes. We're not going to know who won these states for probably weeks, maybe months. This is going to go on for so long, so we're just going to stop the counting tonight here at 1 o'clock, let people go home, we'll come back fresh in the morning. Okay. So then, 2 hours later or so, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, suddenly all these swing states start reporting numbers again. Pretty much all for Biden. And in most of the swing states, it's been like this, and then suddenly at 3 in the morning, 2 hours after they quit counting any votes, Biden went, That's really questionable looking if you're sitting there watching it the whole time. If you just went to bed and then woke up that next morning, it's still kind of weird, but you think, I guess they started counting before I turned this on. Or hell, probably a lot of people didn't turn it back on first thing in the morning, right? But, it's like it was supposed to take months. Then they didn't count anything. Biden jumps ahead, and suddenly, you know what? It looks like he's going to win. We can call it now. That's really freaking weird. Okay? And when you're sitting there watching it and you see the jump for one candidate when they're not even counting votes, it's really hard to look at that and say, well, that seems fair. So that's a difficult thing. And then you've got, you do have voting records where, you've got people who will sit there and go through the voting records and be like, well, this person's, here's their death certificate, here's theirs, dead. Well, this person, we didn't find their death certificate, but they would be 180 if they were alive, so either scientific miracle of a person still alive or dead, So it's just, there's that, there's the stuff of people online who say they're election workers or even confirmed to be election workers who say, oh yeah, I threw out every Donald Trump vote and everybody in our precinct did the same thing. Yeah, we got him. It's just, there's a lot of crap, a lot of evidence that adds up. Here's the problem. Okay, and this starts getting into where maybe people on the right have to kind of start thinking or understanding. There's a lot of evidence, okay? There's a lot of stuff that makes this election not pass the smell test. To say this is the fairest, most transparent election ever or in American history, garbage, okay? Shut up. We don't need to hear that stupid crap. You don't have to overly lie, you know? It's like, that's not necessary. But anyway, so, you know, it's just, there's a lot of things that don't pass the smell test. The problem is, and now I can't say I've seen every single bit of everything that's come out, especially since, you know, you have to be on the internet and search deep down and find people who maybe know something, or maybe they're making it up, because you don't know because it's the internet. Of course, actual media pretty much sits there and makes crap up and tells lies too, so you really just don't know anything. You know, truth is getting really hard to find, to be completely honest. You know, another reason I'm really having a hard time doing any of these videos or getting back into the groove of all this, because it's gotten ridiculous in these last few years. I mean, you know, truth is almost non-existent. And most people take truth as whatever says what I like. And if I agree with it, it's true. If I disagree with it, it's not. And that's, you know, basically people's barometer for a lot of it anymore. And it's just, it's not good. Again, doesn't help bring anybody together when that's the way things are going. But anyway, so there's a lot of crap. There's a lot of stuff that does not pass the smell test. The problem is, and again, maybe there's something I missed. I don't think there is, because I haven't, you know, and people I've talked to or anything, I haven't actually heard anybody really clearly lay anything substantial out. All this evidence, and if you watch any, you know, court shows or crime shows or anything, you know the difference between, you know, evidence and circumstantial evidence. And that's pretty much what all this is. Yeah, it all looks bad. But, you know, I mean, you know, it looks horrible, but you can't absolutely prove it was fraud. You know, it doesn't reach the burden of proof as far as court is concerned. You know, and that's kind of the thing. There's such a wide gap between thinking something, knowing something, and proving something. You know, I think a lot of people, I've even seen polls where 30% of Democrats think something weird happened with the election. Something wasn't right with the election. There's a lot of people who at least believe that they know there was fraud, and enough so that it has changed the election results. But proving it, that's the problem. And, you know, the media keeps looking at it, and, you know, these courts, you know, Supreme Court, lower courts, whatever, they're looking at it, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, there's something weird, but we don't have absolute evidence. This is all circumstantial. We can't build a case on circumstantial evidence. You know, and so they didn't hear it. And of course the media comes back and they're like, oh, they're laughing them out of court. They won't even take their case. It's not because there's no evidence of fraud. It's just because they can't meet the absolute burden of proof in the court of law. There's a big difference there, you know? So for the people maybe central to left-leaning who don't get the problem, that's kind of the problem. There's a lot of questionable crap that is, like, on tape. You know? Like, it's not like somebody in their basement has just pulled a, you know, I'm going to make a video and I'm going to tell them Donald Trump got the election stolen. It's not that ridiculous. There is actual proof. There is actual evidence that something weird happened. But it just, I don't think there's anything that meets the absolute burden of proof in the court of law. And that's where it gets screwed up. Now, given the division and the chaotic nature of everything right now, would it have been maybe judicious for some of these courts, at least the Supreme Court, to say, look, we don't have absolute proof or anything here, but let's pause. This is, you know, we've been hearing how this is the most important election in the history of the frickin' planet. It's the biggest thing ever. Let's just pause and take a moment to be absolutely sure what happened, you know? And I think that's what a lot of the, you know, some of the more constitutional people who know, you know, the vote count and the objecting to the vote, that was not really the way to do this. That's not, it's just not there. And I think it was Ben Sass or somebody who stood up and said, like, look, that's not within our powers right now. You know, this should have happened earlier and it didn't, and there's nothing we can do about it here. You know. So, you know, but I think Well, you had Cruz and a lot of them just saying, look, can we just make a panel? Can we just investigate it a little bit before we just railroad it all through? And the answer was no. So, hopefully that can kind of help some people get it a little bit. You know, I'm not saying what happened is right. I'm not saying it makes it all good, but, you know, hopefully people on the left there can understand why the right's angry. Maybe the right can understand a little bit why the courts didn't take it, because there's not absolute evidence. And maybe there isn't any absolute evidence. You know, people are talking about, oh, it's a widespread fraud, you know, it had to be the Democratic Party and all this, and I don't know that it did. You know, I mean, you had so much just rage and chaos and hatred going, and, you know, for the last 4 years, they've been basically saying, you know, Donald Trump is Satan and he's destroying our country. We have to do something, right? That's what the left and different people have been saying there. So, you know, I don't think it took actual, you know, widespread fraudulent activities to have widespread fraud potentially happen. You know, a lot of it could just be people that work in a precinct going, I have to do something. I have to stand up and fight for my country here. You know, by not counting Donald Trump votes, or, you know, whatever it is. And so there very well could have been a lot of fraud just because people have been so just ran ragged with this, Donald Trump's destroying the country, Donald Trump's destroying the country, he's gonna kill you, you know. And so people just did what they could, you know. They voted 10 times under different names, you know. Every dead person in their family for the last 10 years, they got, you know, ID and went and voted for him. Who knows? You know. But, yeah, so again, there may not be absolute evidence of widespread, manipulated, intentional fraud. You know, it may all be circumstantial, it may all be on an individual basis or a small group basis. You do have a lot of these rule changes before the election that are questionable, but again, I don't think you can, you know, it's an emergency situation. It's been declared for, you know, over a year now. So, well, we're doing what we have to do during this emergency to try and hold an election. I don't know that there's a lot of legal precedent you can lean on to say, no, you can't do these things. You know, you can't make these changes. It's an emergency power situation, right? So, like I said, I'm not saying there was no fraud. I'm not saying everything was good. But there's reason to be a little questionable as far as, you know, what happened in the election. I'm also not saying, though, that Donald Trump absolutely would have won without that. Because he did have problems. He was screwing some things up. Absolutely. You know, so, again, and especially for all you at Google, yeah, I'm not saying he lost the election because of fraud. I'm not going to say that at all. You know, there's a lot of possibilities. Is that one? Who's to say? I obviously am not going to say that whatsoever. Because America, freedom of speech, right? Yay. But yeah, so maybe there was something, maybe there was, who knows? It's just, it's such a ridiculous time and there's so much crap going on, it's really hard to tell. Again, truth is so abstract and hard to find or hear or anything anymore. It's difficult. It makes things difficult. But anyway, so, you know, hopefully that maybe helps some people understand it. I mean, it's kind of like, and I intended to use this. I did use it in an earlier version. So I might as well go ahead and throw it in now. During these playoffs, you know, NFL's going on still. Super Bowl's lined up now. Chiefs and stupid Tom Brady's. Oh, sorry, it's the Buccaneers. Listening to the news, you think it was the Tom Brady's. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah. So there's that. I don't know. One won last year, and one got the guy that's won 7 times. You know, whatever. But I have a fan of the page who's a big Chiefs fan, so I'll go ahead and say go Chiefs, why not? Anyway, so, I actually haven't been, you know, I've liked the Buccaneers alright, but anyway, none of that's important, right? The point is, go through the playoffs, my team, personally, you know, I'm a Titans person, it's great that they're actually finally not sucking for an extended period, that's pretty awesome, but, you know, we kind of had a New Orleans Saints moment in our game against the Ravens there in the playoffs. We're going down the field, and don't get me wrong, the offense had not played well. There's been some bad play calls, some bad execution, and so on. There were problems. There was a reason we were down 7 points in the fourth quarter. But we've got the ball. We're driving down the field. Our wide receiver takes off, like one of the fastest receivers we've got on the team. I like that guy. Kind of reminds me of Steve Smith a little bit. Like, young Steve Smith, but I don't know. Maybe he's got potential. Anyway, he takes off down the field. Tannehill throws the ball, and then Peters, the cornerback for the Ravens, just kind of leans into him, and then our guy goes to the ground. And then Peters just stands there and catches the ball and runs back and, gets tackled. Interception, game over, right? So, not quite as blatant as the New Orleans Saints one a few years ago, but still, enough to where everybody's sitting there like, oh, well, he knocked the receiver down, so that's a flag. That's coming back. It doesn't matter. And time goes, and time goes, and time goes, and there's no flag, and there's no flag. It's like, hello? What are you people looking at? And the coach is screaming at them, and they're just like, yeah, well, hey, we don't know that happened. He could have ran into him, So, it's just, I kind of looked at that and thought it's a good kind of example of what's going on now, and you kind of take it a little further, Both sides, left and right, feel disenfranchised, hugely so, have every right to. You have been disenfranchised by the right and the left, by the media, by the government, by everything. There's a lot of reason that people are upset and not feeling great about how things are going. Completely understandable. But, so the right's sitting there, they feel like they're winning the game, right? They're going to go down, they're going to win this game, it's going to be closer than they thought it should have been, but they're going to win the game, right? And Donald Trump heaves the ball and they knock down the receiver and intercept it, and the game's over. So, all the people on the right, all the fans are sitting there like, well, where's the flag? Clearly something was wrong with this, And they go out and they yell at the officials, and the players are jumping up and down. Nothing's happening. Nobody's even reaching for a flag, So you take it a little further. It's almost like, at this point, the coach, or the freaking official finally pulls out the flag, and everybody's like, finally. And then he calls a penalty on the coach for yelling at him or something, right? And it's just like, how the hell can you sit here and screw us like that? It's, clearly this was wrong, I mean, is there absolute evidence, proof? No, but seriously, just look, So that, the people are irate. They throw, another penalty, basically say, you're gone, screw you. And apparently, some of the fans are so irate inside themselves, they storm the field, right? So, it's just, it's that kind of situation, right? I hope some people who aren't Trump people, who maybe even are ecstatic that Joe Biden won, can maybe look at things and at least understand, hey, there's maybe a reason some of these people on the right say the election was funky. Okay? Maybe you don't like it, maybe you don't agree with it, maybe you don't want it overturned, but you can at least say, hey, we get it. We understand. That was weird looking. That didn't look right. But instead, of course, the media goes out there and says, you're all thugs, you're pathetic, this is stupid, you're all liars, and backwards terrorists, just throwing all kinds of crap at people on the right now, because this has happened. You've even got people out there saying, oh, well, we need to get all the congressmen, all the senators that maybe supported this, or were going to support it, they need to lose their jobs. We need to completely eradicate you. Which, to go back to the football thing, kind of puts you more in the Steelers' place now, right? Like, not only did you lose this huge game, but now you don't even know the future of your team, or what the heck you're going to look like, or what, it's blown everything up, right? So, there's a lot of problems. And if there would just be a little understanding between the people, it could really help a lot. But nobody wants that. At least nobody, with power and a big voice that's not going to be banned for saying something, So it doesn't happen, right? The division keeps going, the hatred keeps going, the chaos keeps going. And, it's going to keep going. And that's it, because there's too many people who are pushing for it to be that way, and not enough of anybody pushing to say, let's just stop. Let's just stop this and quit buying into this crap and actually, be a united people. You know, plenty of people call for unity, but they don't really mean nice, happy, hey, we're equal and we're all good kind of unity. It's more, yeah, we're equal, but we're more equal, and you all have to shut up. Equality and unity, right? You know, Rick James unity, punch in the face unity. You know, that's the kind of unity people are calling for right now, and that ain't gonna work. You know, people's couches are gonna get messed up. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, so it's a lot of problems. All right, there's a whole lot of problems with what's going down now. So since this has happened, might as well go ahead and look at this whole double impeachment thing. You know, which no president's been impeached twice. Well, no president was ever impeached and left in office really, or that wasn't about to go out anyway. So kind of dumb. And again, I think Rand Paul had a point. Like, he's not even in office anymore. This is a little much to impeach him and have an impeachment hearing after he's gone. Like, you know, that does make sense, to be honest, but, you know, they say all they're going to do is basically say, no, bad Donald Trump, you can't run for office anymore. You know, that's pretty much it. You know, which, you know, fine. I mean, the guy would be 78 next election cycle anyway, same age Biden is. And I tell you, Biden looked a whole hell of a lot more spry at 74 than he did at 78. I don't know if Trump's going to decline that fast, but, you know, if if he's looking that bad, you got to think some of his supporters are going to be like, damn, bro, couldn't your kid have ran or something? Like, you know, let's get Ivanka out here. She's nice to look at. You can go around and, you know, something, right? But anyway. So, I don't know that he would have ran again anyway at any point. You know, he's still going to be a big mouthpiece. He's still going to go on, probably, potentially get into some kind of media business. Of course, they'll shut anything they print down, probably, but, you know, whatever. Because, hey, freedom again, right? But anyway, so, you know, I don't know how much that really changes. I don't know. It seems like there's probably a good chance that he's going to be convicted. Maybe. Because, I mean, even if it's party line vote, of course, you know, now you got Kamala Harris breaking the tie. I would assume, you know, since she's definitely proven in the past she's all for convicting people, I would assume she would vote to convict Trump, and he would not be able to run for president again. Again, not really probably a huge deal, to be honest. Probably wasn't going to run again anyway, whatever. The problem is, they're charging him with, you know, insurrection, which is basically like open rebellion, which is basically like high treason, right? So, if they convict this guy of high treason, even if they say, all we're doing with it is, you know, saying he can't run for office again, how do you have somebody convicted of high treason and then just, whatever. You just go lead your billionaire lifestyle and everything's fine, you just can't be president anymore. You know, like, that seems a little weird, doesn't it? I mean, is that going to be the penalty for everybody? You know, like, can we all just be like, we led a violent revolution against government. Well, we can't run for political office now. Shucks, you know. I mean, it's just, that's not much of a penalty for the type of crime they're saying he committed. You know. So, I don't know. Does something civil happen afterwards? Does the DOJ of Biden's administration now go after Trump like Trump kept saying he was going to go after Clinton or Obama? You know, are we just going to have that now? Every new president's going to say, we might need to convict the last president? Seems like it's going that way. You know, I'm not seeing anything that could really stop us from going further down that road. So, you know, why not? Someday Biden, maybe Biden gets lost in the woods or falls down some stairs or something, and then Harris is president. So, you know, maybe Harris, you know, once she leaves office, the next president comes in, we're going to charge you with treason. We're going to charge you with misplacing Joe Biden, you know. Whatever the crime may be, you know. We've got to get you. We've got to get the last president. It's just, why not, right? Why not keep the show going? Why not raise the stakes and make it even crazier? We're going to convict him. We're going to put him in prison every 4 years. You know, it's a death match. You either get to be president or you go to prison. You know, why not? Hell, let's just put him in a cage and have him fight. That seems good enough, I mean, hell, that's as reasonable as anything. I mean, neither side really trusts elections at this point, right? I mean, we've been told the last 3 or 4 times it's completely fraudulent. It's been stolen, either left or right, somebody's saying it. So, hell, I don't know who actually trusts presidential elections at this point, so hell, why not? Cage match. 4 years from now, we can have maybe Joe Biden, maybe Kamala Harris, who knows, and then poor old Bernie can go out there with his mittens and proletariat, why not? At least it'd be entertaining, hell. We could all at least get together and laugh, like, hey, look at this. Hey, your presidential candidate knocked your presidential candidate out. Ooh, it can just be a fun thing. Why not, Can't be any worse than what we got going at this point, right? So, anyway. But, it's just, the problem gets to where, are you gonna convict this guy further? Do they try and charge Donald Trump further? And I think we all know the old term, the penalty for treason is death, right? So if you committed high treason, a violent insurrection, a rebellion against the government to overthrow and topple the United States government, that's fucking treason, I don't know in what book that's not treasonous. And I don't know how you just let that slide, and have any kind of, consequence or meaning whatsoever afterwards. Now, don't get me wrong, for all the people that are starting to foam at the mouth, like, how can you say they need to kill Donald Trump? I'm not saying they need to kill Donald Trump. I'm not saying he needs to be executed. I'm saying, for the crimes they're charging him with, that kind of seems to be, at least life in prison, right? Because, insurrection's a big deal. That said, I think it's a garbage case. I mean, I've heard pretty much most of what Donald Trump said. Some things were a little, but that's Donald Trump talking. I mean, he's always going to be a little, it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger when his helmet falls off and, now I forgot the name of it. The one where he's on Mars and he has his memory. Total Recall. There you go. And he's on there and his helmet's gone, and his helmet, his head blows out. So, Donald Trump's always a little bit like that, right? But, he didn't really say a whole lot that seems extremely, leading to what happened. I would say, freaking Rudy Giuliani up there talking about we're going to have trial by combat, that's more leading than anything Donald Trump said that I've heard of, okay? So, I mean, how you can say Trump incited these people to do this, when pretty much the main thing he said was, okay, we're having a rally, now we're going to go down to the Capitol and we're going to cheer on our guys and not cheer on the other guys, basically. That's it. We're going to go play cheers and cheers with Congress. We're going to stand outside the window and shake a little fist and raise our little signs, and that's, that seems to be pretty much what he said from my standpoint. Hardly treason. Hardly insurrection, right? So, and really, I'll tell you, besides Giuliani's comment, it really kind of seems to me it was maybe more Mitch McConnell that really just finally broke the back of this whole thing. Because, everything was fine. They questioned the vote in Arizona. They go to their chambers, and then McConnell stands up there and says, this is stupid, this is absurd, we're never going to do this, it's not going to change anything, we're going to put down this questioning, and it's going to be done, and you're not going to do anything, and you're not going to change anything, and it's going to go on, and Joe Biden will be president. And then suddenly, after he sits down, somebody else starts to stand up, and then they cut away, and it's like, people are storming the Capitol, by the way. So, if anything, it's probably him saying, screw you, nothing's going to change, that maybe set people off. I mean, just from my standpoint of watching things that day, it's just, I just don't see how you'd charge Trump with anything for that. At the same time, this is Donald Trump. And this is somebody who, and I've been dealing with this, as being not a fan of his, but still being more on the right. I've heard this a lot. Yeah, you hear what he says, but that's not what he means, right? There's always this undertone. He really means something else. And you say, well, I don't like this that he said. Well, you're listening to what he said. That's not what he means. It's this, convoluted, just madness that people have got to where it's like, we have no option, we have no hope, we have to make this guy fit what is our hope for the future, because that's all we've got, right? And so we're just going to pretend he's saying what we want him to say. He didn't say anything I disagree with. He didn't mean it that way. It was a joke. He said it's not a joke. I don't care. He had to say that. They made him say that. Blue tie Donald Trump said it's a joke, but red tie Donald Trump says it isn't. You know, like, you got some out there kind of people, okay? You've got some real fanatical type of out there type people who are following him. And yeah, a lot of those people tend to be those Q type people, right? Which, you know, no offense, but how's that looking for you guys now, by the way? You know, trust the plan. Yeah, well, the plan just got stuck in the backside. So, how's that going? You still think some magical Q person on the internet knows everything that's going on and is telling you the truth that nobody else knows and all this garbage? Still, despite being completely wrong on the biggest event possible, just anything, you know. Anyway, but yeah, so, I mean, there is that kind of undertone. There have been people throughout his presidency who absolutely refused to listen to what he's saying and just apply their own meaning to whatever the hell he says. So yeah, he can say, hey, we're going to go down there and we're going to cheer on the Congress people that are supporting us. And then it gets into their twisted little ears, and we need to go down there and storm the Capitol and take this election back ourselves. Okay, you know, let's do it. I am Cornholio, you know. I need votes for my bunghole, like, you know, whatever. Like, but it's just gone, right? So, I mean, but again, that's insanity. Maybe it's not permanent insanity. Maybe these people aren't mentally deficient. They're just so, again, disenfranchised and so confused and desperate. You know, they're just leading themselves down a terrible path. But whatever. You know, it's just, I don't see how you blame Donald Trump for that. Again, not a fan of the guy. I don't like him. I think him being out completely out of the politics, out of the realm, I think that would be the best freaking thing that could possibly happen to actual conservatives. Because he was just such a block. You know, I mean, I think he's the worst thing to happen to conservatism, probably since maybe the Republican Party, right? I mean, it's just, it was such crap. And he wasn't really conservative, and all the people that were just kind of sat back and like, well, he'll fix it. He'll do it. We're okay. We don't have to put any work in. We don't have to actually make the country better at all. Donald Trump's going to do it. How? Because Donald Trump. But why? America! Like, shut up! What happened to your brains? You know, I mean, 8 years of frickin' Obama, and we were all like, yeah, we gotta put in a lot of work, we gotta do something, we gotta take the country back, it's gonna be hard, it's gonna take a lot. Donald Trump! You know, like, what? So, I really think, you know, Donald Trump has been an extremely negative thing for actual constitutionalist-type people, okay? You know, and don't get me wrong, I don't think any never-Trumper who would go the other way and vote for, you know, frickin' Clinton or Biden, you know, that's garbage too. I mean, you're a complete sellout yourself, so, you know, you've got no room to talk. But, you know, like, it just, if you didn't vote, if you supported some third-party person, like somebody, you know, you can say it's throwing away a vote, but whatever. I'm not putting my name on somebody I absolutely don't trust at all. I'm just not going to do it, so screw you. Yeah. Can't imagine why people don't watch my videos more and they get upset and don't want to finish them and they don't like them or nothing. Screw you, listeners. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah. So it's just, you can't blame him for that. I can't see how you can possibly blame Donald Trump for that. For all that happened. Is he crazy? A little bit. Does he say crazy stuff? Absolutely. He's an entertainer. He's entertaining. That's what he does. But, you know, insurrection? I mean, and again, it's kind of something I heard, you know, it's like, I think it was part of one of the laws in Georgia when they were talking about, oh, he's pressuring the Attorney General there. You know, part of it is he has to believe he's committing fraud. You're expecting Donald Trump, the person with possibly the biggest ego on the planet right now, to actually believe that he lost to a pancake and a broken dog, you know, like, who the hell would believe, who that is so full of themselves would possibly believe they legitimately lost to that guy, you know? I mean, ugh. And I'm sorry, any Biden supporter, but you gotta know, he's about done. Seriously, okay? I mean, he's just, So yeah, I mean, you're having to say that Donald Trump actually believes he lost, and then acted in a rebellious manner to overthrow the government to steal the election back. I don't think you got evidence of that. I really don't. But again, it doesn't matter. It's not being held in an actual court. It's not being held in front of a jury of people. It's being held in front of Congress, in front of the Senate. And everybody's going to vote probably along party lines. Probably. You might have a few of the Republicans that are in bluish areas. They're like, no, I'm going to take your stand. I'm going to vote to impeach him or whatever, you know. So it may go down regular. I think he will be impeached. Because I don't see how he's not. You would basically have to have some Democrats go, no, we're not going to impeach him. And then have basically all Republicans, or at least less Republicans, flip to impeach than you had Democrats flip to not impeach. And I just don't see that happening. So at worst, it'll be 50-50. Harris prosecutes him. At best, well, I guess that would be best on that. Anyway, at worst, you know, you probably got a lot of Republicans flip side and vote to impeach him. But it's just, I don't see how. It seems to be a miscarriage of justice to me. I'm not saying, you know, if you want to say he did something wrong, fine. You know, but this kind of seems like all these cases where the police, like, shoot an unarmed person, and it's like, clearly that's wrong. You know, maybe there's things he did wrong, there's things we could possibly charge him with, but then they're like, first-degree intentional murder, and it's like, what, you saying he premeditated killing this guy before he even got the call? Like, you know, it's just, the charges are too damn high, right? It doesn't make sense, but in this case, again, there's not an actual jury or anything like that, so he'll probably get convicted. But yeah, the real problem comes, I think, is if they try to keep going after him and try to absolutely charge him with the high crimes and treason that they're going to convict him with. And, you know, if it starts being a life in prison situation or even an execution situation, I don't know. Who knows what the hell Donald Trump does then, and who knows what the hell his supporters do. I think you get a hell of a lot closer to civil war at that point if they do go that far. I wouldn't think that they will, but things are getting so crazy at this point, you never totally know, right? I mean, I tend to be pessimistic. I tend to look at the worst possible outcomes that there could be and be like, well, this could happen. You know, I doubt it, but, you know. So, I mean, that's pretty much the worst way it could go as far as that. You know, they're probably going to convict him, but if they take those charges further and try and absolutely stick the guy up completely and say he's committed high treason, then you really get craziness. And who knows, like I said, I don't think Donald Trump's the type of person to be a Hitler or a Stalin or any of this, but you put his back against the wall and say, we're going to cut your head off if we can get to you, I'll tell you, that might put the fire under his butt. He needs to be that kind of person. You know, like, you start talking about executing people, they get real ballsy with stuff they're willing to do at that point, you know. They're willing to go the extra mile at that point, so. Just saying, like I said, I doubt it goes that far. I can't freaking imagine they are that stupid or that they want that civil war already at this point. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say they don't want that at some point because they're just screwing with people too much and dividing people too much to say, oh, we don't want a war. We just want everybody to hate each other so much they're stabbing each other in the parking lot over a face covering, you know. That's where we want it. That's a good level. Murder. Random murder all over the place because people are, you know, so crazy and divided, right? Just, I don't know. Again, theories and theoretical ideas, you know, whatever. We don't know what the heck they're actually pushing. Lots of people online like to say they know. I'm a letter of the alphabet. I know everything, you know, whatever. I'm not claiming to be a letter. I don't know everything going on. I can guess. I can look at everything. I can try to piece things together, and I can tell you about them. But, you know, I'm not going to sit here and lie and claim to know a bunch of crap that nobody frickin' knows. Okay? If you want to waste your time listening to a bunch of people that swear up and down they absolutely know what's going to happen and they get it wrong every month, well, you know, that's your choice, I guess. But, you know, whatever. You know. So, anyway, that's mainly it. As far as the election goes. As far as anything else, the future and all this, again, the Civil War type of stuff, this is really a big blow for the right. And I will say, earlier, before all this went down, and there was kind of some look at geez, with the Antifa and the alt-right and all this, it kind of looks like, there could be kind of some civil unrest and maybe civil war. At that point, I would look at it and go, well, the alt-right, which, by the way, for people who don't know, is not right-wing. They're not conservative. They're National Socialists. There's nothing conservative about these people, okay? That's why they're alt-right. The alternative to the right is left. Far, far socialist left. Sorry. But anyway. And if you are more conservative and you feel like you're alt-right because you're so disenfranchised, and again, they're pushing you down that direction, don't let them do that. You're not that. Stand up and be you. Don't get pushed into a damn corner by evil pieces of crap, okay? Seriously. Don't let evil make you evil. Just be what you're for real. Don't fall in with lunatics because you don't know any other way you can get it done or whatever, right? Anyway, just public service announcement there, right? But, so before I was looking at it, they're better organized, they're better armed. I would think they would probably win if it did get to that point. Now, it's kind of flipped so much because it's not just, the president and the Congress, the Senate and the House and all this. You've got all the media companies and social media companies. Again, I've got to sit here and mince words and can't even theoretically mention a possibility. Even though I'm not, I don't really believe it or don't necessarily know. I can't even say it's a possibility, because I could get silenced, right? So, that's a problem. That really puts people on the right in general, not just crazy alt-right people, but everybody in a bad place. And I like all these people on the right who are like, oh, well, we lost, but we're going to keep the fight going. We're going to keep getting the message out there. How? How are you going to keep getting the message out there? Seriously. They shut down all your pages on social media, at least make it so you can hardly get to anybody, hardly get any kind of, likes or views or anything like that. They put your web page at the bottom of the search accounts. How are you exactly going to get your message out at this point? How do you plan to do that? Because we've been talking for the last, maybe 10 years about this crap going on. And about being silenced. And of course, everybody kind of, and it's one of the things with the right, it's why I was so shocked that they actually stormed the frickin' Capitol. Because the right just kind of goes, so much. They really do, and I'm sorry. We had the frickin' Tea Party thing that it was actually like, hey, we're actually going to stand up a little bit, and we're going to try and make a difference. That was awesome, but it got co-opted by the Republicans like that. You got a handful of decent senators and representatives, and that's pretty much all that happened. And now they want to take all those people out of office, right? Or a large amount of them anyway. So, that was our last real grassroots movement, I think, as far as the right's concerned. Hell, who knows? Maybe the Ocasio-Cortez and all that is kind of the last left-wing movement that's been real. Pelosi and the party leadership certainly hasn't liked it. They kowtow to it and be like, oh yeah, we like it. Isn't it great? But, they don't really like it. They're not for it. They're not happy about it, right? So, anyway, but it's just, how do you move forward with that? How are you going to keep getting your message out when you've got so much crap going against you all over the place? And now, to a point where basically they're ready to call you a terrorist. And so now they've got legal reason to silence you. They don't have to sit around and kind of, meander around. Oh, maybe you're a little too much, and maybe some guidelines got for it. No, now they can just go, well, you're a terrorist. You hold terrorist views. You've pushed a conspiracy theory that we think is dangerous, and we're going to shut you down completely. So I don't see what the hell the right thinks it's going to do there. And again, when it's that hard for the regular people on the right to communicate, it gets the organized alt-right crazy people even more advantage over the group there, because they've probably got more ways to keep pushing a message than others, who are going to be sitting around like, how the hell am I going to do anything now? They shut me down all over the place, right? So, they're already kind of underground. They've already got the organization to be, guerrilla media warfare kind of thing, So, not a great thing. So it's not a good thing, but they're so bottomed out now. I don't know. again, it's just something I don't see how the hell you keep there from being civil war, because it's just being pushed too much from too many sides, you know? We can hope, we can pray, but I don't see it. Again, I'm pessimistic. I always see the worst, and, you know, and sometimes I see it a little earlier than, you know, it goes down, but hey, yeah, I'm not saying it's happening this week or in the next month like a bunch of idiots, you know. But I think the possibility for civil war took a huge jump forward. You know, as far as actually storming the Capitol, I'm not overly concerned. I'm not going to say it was horrific. Oh, what an evil, terrible act. Oh, the poor peasantry dirtied the offices of us in power and leadership. Ew, their feet were on our desk. You know, like, shut up, you whiny douchebag. I don't really care that much. To be honest, personally, I don't care. It is the people's house. Hell, go in there. Oh, we didn't check you and sanitize you before you got here. Well, up yours. Obviously, we didn't do a good enough job checking you before you got here, so, you know, like, whatever. Two-way street, right? But, so, I mean, it's just, that's not a huge deal to me. The vandalism and the crap like that, I mean, clearly you had some not great people getting in there and doing stuff. I know a lot of people are saying, oh, it was secretly Antifa. Antifa had, you know, infiltrated this. I don't necessarily believe that. I'm not saying it's impossible. You know, there could have been some there, but I saw enough evidence necessarily for what I know of far-right, alt-right kind of thing. You know, that seems to point to there was definitely some of them there. You know, so a lot of Q people, and that could very well be real Q people, because they're just, hey, Q told them that this is it, you know, it's gonna happen, we're gonna stay in charge, and it's like, well, if they're saying no, clearly we have to do something, like, I don't know, so, I don't think it was an infiltration or a false flag, you know, all that crap again, you know, it was just, it's crazy, you know, they're breaking people, they're breaking all the straws, they're breaking all the, or, you know, all the straws are breaking the camel's backs on both sides. People are losing their freaking minds. And, you know, what do you expect? Seriously. Okay? Now, while I'm not overly concerned about that, I'm not saying we should storm capitals or anything again. Clearly, that's not going to get anything useful done. You know, there does need to be a lot more activity and movement, not violently, but, you know, at the local level. You need to secure your own towns, right? Your own cities, your own states. You need to make sure that's straight. You know? Yeah, it'd be great to save the country. You gotta save your frickin' neighborhood first, though, right? You can't save the country if your house is on fire, okay? So, people really need to redirect to the local level and really put interest and work into, you know, making things better at that level, first of all. But, you know, so, I'm not saying it was the right thing to do, but it's not horribly disgusting. You know, I guess you have to say the most horrible part of it, of course, was the lives lost and all that kind of stuff. You know, I mean, geez, first thing they do is shoot an unarmed Air Force veteran. Good job. That's not going to stoke flames at all, right? But, you know, what really disgusted me, though, was the way the media reacted afterwards. You know, just continuously going on that this is racism in action. Because they didn't shoot enough of the protesters. And I know that sounds crazy, like I'm, you know, overdoing what was said. No, I heard them talk about that. You know, there's one in particular. They said, well, yeah, they shot her, and those cops would have been absolutely fine if they had shot everyone in that hallway, just gunned them all down. That would have been fine. And then, you know, this one host was like, well, look, we've done a lot of these, you know, unarmed black people shootings, and of course that's bad, and we always talk about the things the cops are doing wrong. Well, here's an unarmed woman, and the cop shoots her. You know, I mean, is this, how is this different? Oh, it's completely different. You know, this was an assault. This was fear for their lives and all this. And then the guy, the freaking moderator, you know, he's like, well, okay, but the one person that shot, how do we say they're afraid for their lives when there's 5 other cops that aren't even looking or holding their guns at them? You know, and the person actually comes back, yeah, Absolutely, and they need to review that tape. And all those police that weren't shooting, didn't have their guns ready, they need to be fired because they're not doing their duty. So now it's your duty to shoot unarmed people. Like, you know. And again, it's the same type of people who were up in arms over the police shooting unarmed black people. Which, again, I'm not saying that's right. You know. Another reason I'm kind of on the outs with the right, you know. I don't really care for all the unarmed shooting of people. I don't care what color they are. You know, so there's an issue there. Unarmed people shouldn't be getting taken out left and right by the authorities, okay? That's not a good sign either. You know, that, again, during Obama, that was something the right was kind of standing up about a little bit. And like, hey, this is wrong. This shouldn't happen. But then Trump gets in and suddenly, yeah, you know, they're probably thugs. They're criminals. Well, now, look, now it's the right getting shot down, and now you're the thugs and criminals, so, you know. What are you going to do? But anyway, again, it'd be great if people on both sides could look at each other and be, like, actually understand there's a big problem going on. Try to have some understanding with each other. Try to come together a little bit. And not just sit on your political side or whatever, you know. Just saying. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, that's been the most disgusting thing to me, is just watching people go on and on about how this is racism, because they didn't shoot enough protesters. They weren't ready to shoot enough of them, and all this crap. And look, yes, there were a bunch of National Guard people activated when Black Lives Matter marched in D.C. You know, police were, you know, a little more on edge when Black Lives Matter happened and came. But let's really look at everything here. You know, when the Black Lives Matter protests happen, and whether it's because Antifa comes out later at night and starts crap, which is, you know, likely, but no, or, you know, or not, whatever, whether that's the deal or not, when you have these protests that turn into riots as the night goes on, whether because of outside actors or whatever, you know, they have clips where they're saying, you know, cops are pigs, fry them like bacon and all this. You know, that's kind of the takeaway for law enforcement on that side. You know, while they're pushing these people out of the White House, the protesters are yelling at them, hey, you should be on our side. We support you. You know, they're waving flags with, you know, the blue stripe for the police. I mean, it's hard to say, oh, the police need to take the same threat as the people that are saying, kill the police, disband the police, and the people saying, we love the police, we support them no matter what. You know, it's like, it's hard for the frickin' police to take those people and, you know, address them the same way. It just is. And it has nothing to do with their frickin' color. You know, it's about the message coming out, you know. And again, not that necessarily really all or anywhere near most of Black Lives Matter would support killing the police and all. But that's, you know, you get crazy people in there and that's the takeaway. So, you know, and that may be unfortunate, whatever. It's just, but that's how it is. And to say that it's just complete racism, that they're reacting differently to these two groups is, it's freaking disgusting. You know, it's more division. It's more, hey, hate them, hate the other side, you know, and that's all it freaking is. So, you know, again, I would like to hope people can see through that crap too, but so far it doesn't look like it very much, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that's disgusting. And just seeing that and hearing that, and the absolute just contradiction over and over and over, and this is people on the right and left now. It really is. But, you know, just everywhere, every issue, you know, you don't have principles, you have a party. You have a side. You know, and you don't support principles, you don't support what's right, you support, you know, your side. Whatever it would be on that day. And that's gotta stop. You know, there's no way anything good comes from that. You know, if it's wrong to shoot unarmed people here, then it's wrong to shoot unarmed people there. You know, you just there's got to be some kind of equal. You know, I mean, there has to be actual equality. You can't have everything completely unequal and say, oh, it's equality, and it's unity, and everything's great. Shut up. You know, everything's great. You just can't do that. It's not gonna work. Okay, so anyway, I think I've gone well over an hour even at this point. Maybe, heck, I don't remember exactly when I started. It might be near 2 hours now. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't think it should be that long. Anyway, you knew when you started this video how long it was. I don't have that luxury, okay? But anyway, I'm just trying to cover everything. And there's been a lot of crap happen these last few weeks, months and everything. So, it's just, it's absurd, the hatred and the violence and the chaos and everything that's going on, everything that's being pushed. It's not good, and it doesn't lead to a good place. I would be, because I don't know that it's over yet, but I would be pretty satisfied if Donald Trump was not part of the agenda quite so much anymore. I think that would be a great thing for the country, for conservatism and the Constitution and everything, because he's just, it's not good. It's a show, it's about him, he's a populist, he doesn't hold these principles. It's just, he's not a great thing, If you want to say he's better than a Clinton or a Biden or something, okay, fine. But don't act like he's the savior of the country, because he doesn't really stand for, all this stuff. Anyway, and it was something Cory Booker said, of all people, when they came back, once they cleared out the building and everything, and he gave a little speech, and he got a little, like he's trying to hold back tears and everything at the end of it. Like, alright, that's a little much, bro. Like, you can chill that down a little bit. There's no need for the fake, I got palpitations, it's so terrible, You didn't need that. He gave a pretty decent speech, though, other than that. And I'm not saying I agreed with every single thing he said necessarily, but it was a decent speech, and he made a really good point. And, the fact that, back in 1812, when they stormed the Capitol, it was for the King of England. It was for one man. And now that it's happened this time, it's about one man. It's about Donald frickin' Trump. And that's frickin' true. And you can't say it's about the party. You can't say it's about anything. You had people run around saying, let's hang Pence. There's just too much about him. That's not going to do anything. That's not going to help anybody. That's not going to save this country. Nothing good comes from... and again, the frickin' hypocrisy. 8 years ago, we were mocking the hell out of the left because they were, talking about, giving frickin' Obama the rock star treatment and everything. Oh, we don't do... This isn't how we treat presidents in this country. Then Donald Trump comes along. Throwing your panties on stage at him. Oh, wow, Donald Trump. What the hell's wrong with you people? Where the hell... What happened? Where did your brains go? What the hell happened here, Seriously. And so, yeah, he had a good point there. It's an absolute point. It's one of the reasons I've never supported him, because he's not good for, moving the good things and the right things forward. Yeah, he might be able to get some crap done, but it doesn't mean it's good things that are going to happen, He doesn't have those principles, and if you're going to completely sell out like that for a man, you're not going to fight for those principles either. You're too busy fighting for a person. One single person. To save the whole country and the whole world and all this crap. That don't work. And that ain't good. Again, that's the thing. I never saw Donald Trump as a Hitler-type dictator. But the way his supporters were getting, that's a problem. That's a real freaking problem. And like I said, you got too many people that are disenfranchised and getting pushed more and more into the alt-right, which is socialist, National Socialism. And you got people on the left being pushed further that way into more global socialism or communism, right? So it's just, everything kind of keeps pushing more and more into those corners that are basically the same. And then you do end up like Nazi Germany. As played as that is at this point, because we talk about Hitler and Nazis like every 5 days now. Someone's a freaking Nazi, someone's Hitler, all the time. It's so worn out, it's like the boy who cried wolves. We're actually getting to the point where we could see a Hitler-type person rise into power. And sadly soon, after everything that's been going on lately. But now people are just so tired of the old, ooh, it's Hitler again. Yeah, whatever. Sure, Hitler's here. Yeah, sure. Oh, we're going down that road. Yeah, that's going to happen. And then, it does. And nobody cares. Nobody's looking for it because they're so tired of hearing about it. And you're really getting there. Right and left. They're pushing towards Stalinism, towards Hitlerism, whatever you want to call it. Fascism on both sides is rising like crazy. And, I mean, people are just getting too fed up and too crazy, too disenfranchised, and too damn, just, they're desperate. People don't know how they're going to keep their lives together. They don't know how they're going to have any kind of life, anything like what they've known, what they're used to, what they love. You know, it's just like everything's gone. You know, and that's before the whole damn virus thing came on. You know, as much as you want to put it on that, it's not that. This started well before any kind of viral anything. So, it just keeps getting worse. You know, and for all the talk about how Donald Trump, oh, he's a great economics person. He spent more than Obama did. He spent money like crazy. He's no freaking, he's not going to save the freaking country. He wasn't going to do anything. Oh, he gave tax cuts. Big deal. You know, every Republican cuts taxes. Every Democrat raises them. Big whoop. He did it too. Ooh, his were a little bigger. Ooh, whatever. Just means the next increase is going to be that much bigger, right? So, you know, it's just... And again, I mean, clearly you can see within days now, Biden's almost erased most everything Trump did. All the big achievements that they used to tout, oh, Trump did this, the media won't tell you, but Trump did this, they're pretty much all gone already. You know? Like, it's just, it's gone. It was a crapshoot, because he did nothing real. He made no real solid change, and now it's just down the drain. You know? I don't know if he was waiting for his second term to really do something big. You can say what you want for him, but in reality, not a whole lot got done. Definitely nothing permanent. Nothing that's going to stick around. No good changes that are really going to do anything. So, again, people on the right, I really hope you'll get back on track. You know, get away from the one-man band over here and get back to doing, you know, actual work and really fighting for the country as what it's supposed to be, as what it would be better for everybody, you know. But again, I'm pessimistic. I don't see it happening anymore. You know, so like I said, main thing, and this goes for everybody, focus on what's at home, and really, screw politics. I wish they'd disband parties completely at this point. I mean, seriously. You know, like, if you're not going to give every single political party equal time, equal airtime, equal time in debates, then there doesn't need to be parties. Because it doesn't matter how many there is, they've already picked their winners. And, you know, it doesn't matter, oh, right, left, Democrat, Republican. You know what? The country keeps going the same freaking direction. So, you know, screw the party, screw the politics. And I hope people will really sit down. And if they are so upset about what's going on, just stop. Sit down and really reflect on yourself and your life and your beliefs and what do you really believe in? What are you really about? And focus on that, you know? Me, like I said, constitutional type person, religious person, that's where I focus. You know, that's what's important. That's why I have voted for Republicans and a few Democrats and a rapidly increasing amount of independents, okay? Because, you know, you gotta look, and you can't just vote because of a letter beside somebody's name, because it doesn't mean crap. I mean, we definitely had a time here, you know, a Democrat running for Senate was way more conservative than the Republican. So much so that the Democratic Party actually came out and said, we don't support this guy, nobody vote for him, you know? And so, of course, the Republican won, because none of the Republicans would look and say, wow, this guy's actually better. Because he's on the other side. We can't support him, right? So, it's just, focus on reality. Focus on what people are actually about, you know. And you know, for all the people that got elected, I'm a Trump supporter, and that was their entire campaign. Well, what the hell are you now? Because Trump's gone. What the hell are you going to do now in Congress? Huh? I'd really like to hear that part. Because, you know, your whole campaign just went to hell when Trump went out of office. So what the hell are you about? You know, but people frickin' voted for him. Because it's about that man. It's not about principle. It's not about any kind of ideology. It's about one frickin' man. And that's got to stop. Alright? Because that will be the death of every damn one of you. And I'm serious about that. That is not an exaggeration. This will kill you. You're going down a road that will kill you. And I don't mean like, oh, I got sick and died of old age. I mean, put on your knees and execute it in the streets. That's where you're going. That's what you're pushing towards. Oh, it can't happen here. This is America. Just you wait and see then. Because you're going to get a real up-close vision of what's coming. And you're not going to like it. And there's nothing you can do about it by then. Alright? So I really hope you people will stop, get your crap together, and focus on what's really important. And like I said, focus on the home level first. It's something I keep saying. You may not be able to save the country. America may be gone, and there's no way you can stop it. But if you give a damn at all about yourselves, about your family, your children, the future at all for these people, focus on what's at home. Fight like hell for your town, for your city, to get on track with what's right. Alright? You know, screw politics. Fight for what's right morally, religiously, whatever. All that crap the Republicans said, oh, don't worry about that anymore. That doesn't matter. You know what? If you look at it, so most of the, black people down poor and on the streets and in the ghettos and all this crap, and the white people that are more conservative and all this, and even a lot of the freaking Hispanic immigrants, whether they are illegal or legal, whatever, for the most part, when it comes to morality, you mostly kind of fit into the same category. You mostly believe the same way. But you've been driven apart so much by parties and all this garbage. Hell, maybe you could be a majority. Maybe you could stand up and make a difference and save, towns and cities and states and the whole country. Maybe you could. But you've got to put this crap down. You've got to put all the hatred down and the chaos and actually come together and stand up for what's right. And that's it. Otherwise, you're gone. You're all gone, and it's going to be nasty. You've already got, after this protest, people are out there, turning in their own family members. Yeah, there's another check mark on the Hitler frickin' Nazism board, because that's what it got to there. All the Hitler youth had to, go to school and report on their parents. Do they support the state? Do they support the Fuhrer? No? Well, you better tell us. And they did. Children were ratting out their own parents, and it's happening right now. Alright? And I know it's easy to excuse because they raided the Capitol. That's a crime. This was terrible. This was a terrible day. This was an ugly mark on our history. Well, yeah, this ain't nothing. January 6th. It's a date to mark on the calendar. It's a day to remember, but not as a finale of Trumpism and all the terrible things that he did. This is a turning point. This is it. This is where that day just solidified what's coming. And people have to stand up and start acting right and acting very different than what they are right now if you're ever going to stop it. Seriously. So, that's my real main message for today. Focus on what's important, on your family, on your local community that you can actually affect, okay? And do some good. Try and save your family. Get your family right. Get your town right. Get your neighborhood right. Get people supported. Work together. I don't care what color you are. I don't care who you voted for in the past. You got to look at right now and what's really important. Screw the politics. Screw the politicians. Screw them. If nobody good runs, run somebody yourself. Save your cities. Save your towns. Be like Batman and all. Save the city, right? Screw the country. You can't control saving the country right now. There's not enough people around this place to save it. It just ain't going to happen. Okay? And if you really believe and you want to save something, you might have to move. If you're in, if you're in New York or Illinois or California, you ain't going to change anything. They're hardline and they're going full steam ahead with all kinds of terrible crap that you can't stop. Whether you like it or not. You might need to move. If you don't like how your state's going, how your town's going, you might need to move. And that's a big deal. And so long as you leave the terrible things your city or state is doing behind, go ahead and move out. Get somewhere a little better and stand with people and work together and maybe at least save something. Save your city, save your towns, maybe a whole state. Or at least a whole part of a state, right? But it's going to take a hell of a lot of work. And you people are going to have to put down the politics and the garbage and just be freaking human beings and respect each other as human beings and try to at least kind of understand where everybody's coming from a little bit. Otherwise, pack it in. And that's one thing, one final little note, I guess, that I found really absurd. because I'm somebody, you know, I've said a lot, if you followed this channel, this page, or whatever, you know, I always say, prepare for the worst. Again, I'm a pessimist. I kind of expect the worst. So, you know, I always tell people that. Get ready for the worst kind of stuff. Not crazy, super prepper type, but, you know, if that's how far you want to take it, hey, when it does go bad, you'll be really popular, right? So, you know, whatever. But I've always said, you know, get ready for the worst. Whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's a freaking disease outbreak, you know, clearly can have a problem, clearly can affect food supply and supplies of all kinds of other things, you know, or it is some kind of huge terrorist event, huge, you know, civil war, whatever. Try to get ready. Try to prepare yourselves for this stuff. And I found it funny. I saw them doing a little special on the Q people, right? And like now that their Q leader has been wrong, and you know they said Donald Trump was going to stay in power, and they didn't. Where are these Q people going to go? And they said, oh well, we're worried they could go into farther out, more radical extremes like white nationalism or prepper. You know, like wait, and I'm just sitting there like prepping. You mean trying to get some food and water and supplies just in case something bad happened? That's equal to a Nazi now? For you people? I mean, okay. That's effed up in a big way. They're going to call prepping as bad as Nazis now. So, you know. So I will say, get your ass ready for anything. Because it could get bad. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe people actually get together. Maybe they finally can get shaken back into reality a little bit. I doubt it. Personally, that's how I feel. That's how I am. I doubt it. I'm pessimistic. Maybe you're not. Aren't you cute? Isn't that cute to do? Oh, you think it's going to be good. Well, that's fine. But you might want to get ready for it to not be good. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Do the best you can. Get together. Get, again, with your family, with your neighbors. Pull together. It's a hell of a lot easier to get ready as a larger group than just one person who doesn't have enough money to do anything. You know, I mean, oh, I can barely stock up this amount of food a month, and that's not going to do anything. No, it's not. But if you're all working together and storing up, you know, little amounts of something, maybe you got something. Maybe you can take care of each other. If you do it smart, you know. Again, a reason I wanted to do the whole Surviving the End series again, maybe on video and all, but we'll see about that later on. But anyway, I guess that's about it. Get ready for the worst, but, you know, try to do something. Try to make preparations that it doesn't have to get to the worst. Try and work together. Try and change your ways out here. Alright? Seriously, because you're not going to make it this way. This country is not going to exist if you all keep going this direction. Because you're too damn close to it going over the cliff. I mean, you're really damn close now. I mean, I was even shocked about how close it's getting at this point. It's gone way over the top. So, and again, just the fanaticism about politicians and leaders, that ain't good. When you stop working to make things better yourself and you look for one man to be a solution, that's how you get a dictator. Because you're not going to do it, but you need them to. And they need all the power in the world to make it happen. And that's a problem. But that's where you're headed. On both sides of the aisle, honestly. So, what can I say? How many ways can I say it? How many times can I say it? Good luck, people. Try it. Try and do it right. Try and get straightened up. That's all I can say. Right? Anyway. That's it for now. Might be it for a little while. I don't know. Like I said, I've had a hell of a time trying to get this video together. I think I finally got it. But whether I'm going to be able to put anything else together before I can get out of here and go post this thing and all this stuff, I don't know. So, maybe it for a while, maybe not. Check in with all the other stupid Facebook for, you know, while you still can. Check us out on the YouTube while you still can. You know, all that stuff. And hey, speaking of all the terrible social media crap, check us out on the VK, because you're probably going to be able to check us out there for a while. I'm not always good at updating there, because there's not a lot of people there yet, but hey, I really highly doubt I'm going to get kicked off of that. I would have to do something real crazy to get off of that one, so you know. Anyway, but we're going to talk about social media and companies and all that stuff later also. I got a lot of ideas for videos. Like I said, these last month or so has really gotten the gears turned in there, and I've got a lot to start saying again. So hopefully, you know, if not immediately soon, still pretty soon, we're going to be doing a lot more good, entertaining videos, hopefully. Probably a lot shorter than this one. That's the plan anyway, because I know people have a hard time sitting there and watching hours of me talking. As wonderful and beautiful and entertaining and perfect and fantastic as I am, I know it's hard. Okay, so, you know, I can't help it. Anyway, so, it's hard to wrap things up into such a small pack, especially when we're covering all this stuff. There's just way too much. But anyway, that's it for today, for now. So, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you'll like it, hit all the likes and the follows and the subscribes and all this garbage, all that social media stuff y'all so good at, you know. Do all that stuff, like it, share it, and yeah, I guess that about covers it, doesn't it? So, thank you all again, much love, God bless, and good luck out there with everything, because, anyway, bye.